The entertainment industry thrives on glamour, spotlights, and endless celebrations. For the stars who captivate millions of fans, birthdays are supposed to be magical moments filled with joy, flowers, gifts, and overwhelming love. But this year, something truly shocking happened that left the world stunned. Wang Yibo's birthday party turned into a night of silence, emptiness, and haunting loneliness. It was supposed to be a celebration of the man who has conquered acting, dancing, singing, and racing. A man whose name echoes far beyond the borders of China. Yet instead of fireworks, music, and laughter, his birthday unfolded in ways no one expected, leaving an emotional scar that fans and media are still struggling to process. The stage was set for grandeur. Days before his birthday, rumors spread across social media that Yibo's management team had prepared a secret venue, decorated with dazzling neon lights, silver balloons, and golden curtains. A long dining table was reportedly arranged with crystal glasses and imported champagne. Chefs had been hired to prepare an elaborate feast worthy of royalty. Everyone anticipated a night that would trend across platforms, the kind of event where industry elites, co-stars, and influential figures gather under one roof. But as the clock ticked closer to midnight, the truth began to unfold. No one showed up. Inside the enormous hall, silence echoed louder than any music could. Dozens of candles flickered nervously against the wind of the air conditioner. The sweet aroma of untouched desserts drifted in the empty air. Rows of chairs stood aligned, waiting for guests who never arrived. A lonely cake, beautifully crafted with intricate designs, sat at the center of the table, its icing glowing under the dim lights. Wang Yibo, dressed simply in a dark suit, stood by the corner of the room. His hands were buried deep inside his pockets, his face shadowed with emotions too heavy to hide. For someone who had always carried himself with calm confidence, his eyes betrayed a storm within. He glanced toward the door each time it creaked open, perhaps expecting a familiar face, a friend, or even a colleague. But only staff members moved quietly, exchanging worried glances, unsure of what to say. No fans broke through the venue gates, no industry giants appeared, and no co-stars stepped into the light. It wasn't just about a birthday party, it was about what it represented. To the outside world, Yibo is untouchable, adored, followed, and celebrated. But on this night, the walls of fame crumbled, revealing something brutally raw: isolation. Some whisper that behind-the-scenes politics had played a role. Rivalries, management conflicts, and unspoken grudges may have kept people away. Others speculate that perhaps Yibo himself had unknowingly distanced too many, his quiet personality mistaken for arrogance. Whatever the reason, the absence was deafening. The media had a field day. Pictures of the empty hall began to circulate. Paparazzi lenses captured Yibo leaving the venue long after midnight, his shoulders slightly hunched, his expression unreadable. Some claim he left in his motorbike, speeding through the city streets, the roar of the engine covering up the silence of his heart. For fans, the news hit like a thunderbolt. How could a man loved by millions be left alone on his birthday? Social media erupted with hashtags like "Yibo deserves better" and "Happy Birthday, Yibo." Fan communities across the globe began organizing virtual parties, streaming birthday wishes, and flooding timelines with videos and photos celebrating his career. But the truth remained. The night itself was painfully empty. What makes the story more haunting is the contrast between Yibo's on-screen image and this quiet moment of vulnerability. He is known as the Ice Prince, the racer who fears nothing, the performer who dominates every stage. Yet, under the glitter, lies a man who still longs for connection, who still feels the sting of being forgotten. Some insiders revealed that Yibo had prepared handwritten letters for certain close friends, invitations delivered discreetly with personal messages. He wanted something genuine, away from the flashing lights, a night filled with people who truly knew him. But those very people didn't appear. Whether due to busy schedules, fear of public scrutiny, or other reasons, their absence left a permanent mark on the night. One staff member allegedly overheard Yibo whispering to himself while staring at the untouched cake, "Maybe birthdays are not meant for me." Those words, simple yet heartbreaking, spread like wildfire once leaked, deepening the sorrow surrounding the night. And yet, there is something strangely powerful about this story. In the midst of disappointment, Yibo showed quiet strength. He didn't lash out, didn't post cryptic messages, and didn't seek pity. Instead, he spent the final moments of his birthday under the city lights, riding his motorbike, the cool night air brushing against his face. Some fans believe this solitary ride was his way of reclaiming peace, of reminding himself that solitude doesn't mean weakness. The imagery of that night is unforgettable. The glittering city below, the hum of engines, and a lone star cutting through the darkness. In many ways, this lonely birthday has already become a defining chapter in Yibo's journey. It humanizes him, strips away the walls of stardom, and reminds the world that even the brightest stars can sometimes burn alone. Fans have since promised to make next year unforgettable, with projects already being planned worldwide, from massive billboards to synchronized fan events. But deep down, one can't help but wonder if any of that truly heals the wound of that night, or if the silence will always echo in his memory. Because sometimes the loudest sound is not applause, but the absence of it. As the story continues to unfold, one thing is certain. Wang Yibo's lonely birthday will forever remain one of the most shocking and emotional chapters in celebrity history. A night that was supposed to be filled with noise instead became a haunting silence that the world cannot stop talking about. And perhaps, in that silence, lies the most powerful reminder of all, that fame, glitter, and millions of fans can never replace the warmth of true presence. So the question remains, who will stand beside him when the next candle is lit? The silence of Wang Yibo's birthday night continues to echo, and the world can't stop replaying the haunting details of what should have been a day of joy. His lonely celebration has sparked countless discussions, but to truly understand the weight of that night, one must step deeper into the scene, into the chilling emptiness of a room built for grandeur but swallowed by absence. The venue was breathtaking. Towering glass windows revealed the glittering skyline outside, each city light shimmering like a promise of celebration. Crystal chandeliers cast soft glows onto the tables below, while golden ribbons fluttered gently with the rhythm of the air conditioner. Every detail had been carefully chosen. Flowers imported from Europe, an ice sculpture carved with his initials, and a cake that looked almost too beautiful to eat. But as midnight approached, the grand stage looked more like a theater of silence. The chairs stood stiff, their velvet cushions untouched. Rows of champagne glasses reflected the flickering light of candles that were never blown out. And in the center of it all stood Wang Yibo, his expression calm yet unreadable, as if fighting a war inside. The sound of his footsteps echoed across the marble floor when he moved. Each step was a reminder that he was walking alone. Staff members hovered at a distance, their nervous glances betraying the heaviness of the situation. They had seen stars celebrate with noise and fireworks. Yet here they stood, watching one of Asia's most celebrated icons face an emptiness that no camera could fully capture. At one point, Yibo reportedly walked to the cake table. The cake, a masterpiece laid in white cream, decorated with golden accents and a sugar-crafted motorbike, stood untouched. He ran his fingers lightly across the edge of the table, staring at the candles waiting to be lit. It was a quiet standoff between him and the symbols of a party that never happened. Some whispered that his lips curved into the faintest smile, not of joy, but of acceptance, as though he had seen this moment coming long before anyone else did. In that silence, it wasn't just the absence of people that spoke volumes. It was the absence of words. No happy birthday, no clinking of glasses, no laughter. Only the hum of machines and the faint rustle of decorations in the breeze. Later, Yibo moved toward the balcony, overlooking the sprawling city. He placed his hands on the railing, the night air brushing against his face. Down below, the city pulsed with life, cars honking, neon signs flashing, strangers walking in pairs or groups. Yet up here, in this lavish but hollow hall, one of the brightest stars stood utterly alone. Imagine the contrast. A man whose posters decorate skyscrapers, whose name trends globally with every new project, standing quietly with no one to say, "I'm glad you were born." And when the final hour struck, Yibo made a decision that fans can't stop talking about. He didn't stay to linger in the disappointment. Instead, he left. The cameras caught him later, dressed in black, riding his motorbike through the city streets. The roar of the engines sliced through the stillness of the night as he leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the open road. To outsiders, it may have looked like rebellion, but to those who know him, it was something else: escape. Riding has always been his therapy. On that night, the streets became his audience, the headlights his candles, and the wind his only companion. Each turn, each acceleration, was like a silent scream released into the night. He didn't need confetti or applause. He needed freedom, a reminder that he could outrun the heaviness pressing on his heart. By dawn, whispers of what happened began flooding social media. Fans couldn't believe the reports. No one came. How is that possible? Others shared anger at the industry, accusing insiders of neglect, while some simply wept at the thought of their idol sitting in silence on his special day. One fan wrote, "He gives us so much happiness, yet no one gave him theirs when it mattered most." Another posted, "We couldn't be there physically, but he must know he's never truly alone. Not with us, hey." Within hours, fans organized virtual vigils, birthday projects, and mass postings of his pictures, flooding the internet with messages of love. Billboards lit up in Seoul, New York, Paris, and Tokyo with "Happy Birthday, Wang Yibo." Online fan events gathered thousands singing his songs, crying, and promising that they would never let him feel forgotten again. But the question still lingers: does virtual love heal the sting of physical absence? For someone like Yibo, who rarely reveals his emotions publicly, the answer may never be spoken. What's clear, though, is that the night left an indelible mark. Some industry insiders called it a wake-up call. Not for Yibo, but for those around him. For years, he's been described as private, reserved, someone who doesn't chase connections in an industry built on them. That night, however, revealed the price of such solitude. A man can be adored by millions and still stand alone in an empty hall. The most haunting detail, according to one staff member, was a small box placed discreetly on one of the tables. Inside was a simple silver bracelet Yibo had bought for himself, a birthday gift in case no one else remembered. The box was never opened that night. Instead, it traveled home with him, quietly tucked into his jacket pocket. Perhaps that's the most symbolic part of it all. Yibo giving himself what the world failed to. And yet, amid the sadness, fans see strength. They see a man who, despite silence and disappointment, still found a way to ride into the night and face the sunrise head-on. A man who turned loneliness into resilience. This lonely birthday may have been painful, but it also revealed something extraordinary. It showed the world the human side of a star who rarely lets his guard down. It proved that even the brightest lights crave genuine warmth. And it reminded fans everywhere that behind every celebrity is someone who still needs love in its simplest, purest form. When history looks back at Wang Yibo's career, this night will not just be remembered for its silence, but for the story it tells, that even in loneliness, a star can rise, can shine, and can remind us all of the fragility of the human heart. And as the candles on that untouched cake melted away in the empty hall, fans around the globe lit their own, carrying the flame he was denied that night. Because sometimes the world needs to be reminded that even stars deserve to be celebrated. Sparkles, if you were moved by this emotional continuation of Wang Yibo's lonely birthday story, make sure to like this video, share it with others, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful and unforgettable stories about your favorite stars.